All right, everyone, what is going on? We are back, the Crypto Boys, and we've got Chase today. So Chase just came from a what is it? A Zoom court?
Zoom court. We do a lot of like hearings that don't need to be in person in Zoom now.
So what do you do? You just throw on a shirt and this guy?
I have a shirt hanging in my office, like a collared shirt that I put on, and that's what I wear in the Zoom.
Awesome. So, anyways, that went a little long. So he's a little later than I expected, but also we didn't actually confirm the time. We just said around noon. So I set it for 12:05. Anyways, guys, we cannot waste this time because he has to go back to half shorts and a Zoom shirt court right afterwards. So he's got to be out of here no later than 1, and it's 12:23. So we got to make sure we get him back to court. And again, something I want to start with that we were just chatting about just for a quick second is basically, why don't you give him a rundown of the whole document? I know you said you absolutely read the whole thing and everything. Give him a rundown of what to expect that we're going to go over, and give him a rundown of how detailed it is to exactly the knowledge and things they need to know from it.
Yeah, so I read the whole document this morning. That was about 7:30 when I read it. There's a lot of stuff in there. Nothing really all that concrete, I guess, because they go out of their way to say these are estimates. They could change, and they kind of give you an overview of how they figured out, how they figured out this 72% or whatever.
Yeah,
which is also subject to change which they put that actually in caps. So
they literally put it everywhere.
I mean, it's
all over
in
the
there
document
3 or 4 times that all of this is subject to change. And then they kind of go over what they think it would look like. And when I say what they think, that's what I mean is what they think. They don't really know what a liquidation, which is Chapter 7, when you sell everything and get cash for it, what that would look like as opposed to taking the plan, how that would kind of look. They say it could take another 12 months, but they don't really know that.
Yes.
Could be longer. So it's a lot of vague estimates and guesses. The estimates are true, what they're putting down. They're not vague. They're just saying all this could change.
Yeah, the clear-cut answer, like, let's just be honest. The clear-cut answer is this going through us getting the hell out of here, getting our 72% and running, right?
Yeah, that's what they wanted. I think that they did this in response to Texas, and there might have been another state or another board in Texas who challenged how they came up with.
Do you want to start with that real quick?
Sure.
All right, let's go over the Texas thing, guys, real quick. So just explain this to them and exactly what's happening here. So Texas investigates FTX for securities violations after objecting basically to the Voyager auction. Just give us a rundown of what this exactly meant.
Basically, what they're saying is they didn't trust whatever however they came to their numbers. They're saying that wasn't right. They wanted more detail on how they came up with their numbers, and that's, I believe, what they filed was in response to that. Okay. So they give you more information about this is how we're breaking it down. There's some stuff in there about there's some stuff you guys will probably be interested in as far as what tokens are going to be supported on FTX, which ones aren't, and how they're going to
distribute those and tax information.
There's not really any tax information in there.
But I'm saying, could Texas be filing this to kind of realize, like, hey, there could be tax implications too? Texas
could be doing this for many reasons. One, they don't believe 72%. They simply don't believe that high a number. 2, they may not like the 20 days over September 2020 or September 29th, I believe. Mm-hmm. They said they took a 20-day average, and that's how they came up with the crypto value. But as we sit here on October 20th, that value is probably different.
Completely different, yeah.
So, how do you, maybe they're saying, how are you guys coming up with, the flux in the market every day?
Well, you bring up a good point. I don't want to cut you off, but you bring up a great point, because that's a question I had. What does that mean? Like, how are they going off of a 20-day average from September 29th when we're not in September 29th anymore? It's just worth different stuff.
I wonder, so are they saying from September 9th to September 29th, we've taken the value every day? Well, I don't know. Was it market close or market end? Whatever. Have they taken the value and said, okay, average throughout this period of time is that's what we think your crypto is worth right now. But
it's not.
in the filings they're pretty clear to say, we're using July 5th.
Yes.
As an evaluation date to dollar. They call it dollarization in the document, and that's basically what it is. Here's what we're converting to dollars because we have to treat everybody the same. So dollarization. You'll if you read their full filing, you'll see them talk about dollarization, which is basically converting crypto into dollar and saying this is what people get.
Well, we'll go over that.
We can get into that.
So I did have a question just before we go over the document, and we'll start getting into things. Things will flow much quicker when we get in. I had a guy ask. He's like, "Hey, I'm basically down this much in my project. I'm going to get 72% back because of when I bought it, and the market's so low. If I just put all the money back in, I'm getting 95%." And I'm like, "Well, it doesn't always make sure because of this 20-day average thing." Right, because it can change a little bit. This is me after reading the document. It seems like whatever you get back from the 72% can change a little bit because of that average isn't set in stone.
Anything could change at any point. If you read the document, they'll tell you that all of this is estimation. And I thought in the document it's very interesting that they go out of their way to say this has not been audited by any independent accountant. So basically, this is Voyager's people telling you what they think is going to happen, but no one outside of the company has audited this information. And I believe they say that a couple times in the document. And they do let people know, if you think, oh man, crypto, it blew up, now I'm going to get over what I had in my account. If that were to happen, they make it very clear that you cannot get over 100%. So if crypto were to blow up in the next 2 weeks, and next thing you know, people are like, oh, my portfolio is worth 120% of what I claimed. You can't get more than 100% of what you claimed.
Well, and some ass clown that I don't even want to bring up on one of our other videos, which had tons of great comments, but this one guy's like, "You guys just really want us to get less than 72% back. You guys are idiots," or whatever. I'm like, yeah, of my $15,000 worth of VeChain in there, I want less than 72% back.
That's false. I'm just trying to give you information. I don't. Well, if you can get 100% back, great. If you can get 110% back, great.
Awesome.
Why would Colin want only 70? Why would he want less than 72% of his own money?
Just don't make any sense.
I suppose you can think that if you want. I don't really care.
No,
because personally, it makes no difference to me what you end up getting back. I'm just trying to give you the information that I see. If you get back 80%, hey man, good for you.
Heck yeah. Oh, I'm hoping for 100 somehow. Screw it.
Hey, if someone could stumble into getting all your money back, and this is just kind of a 6-month headache, hey, great.
All right, so we'll start going through everything here, guys. Now, I've outlined everything. Chase has double-checked it. I sent it to him this morning, so he looked at everything. And so we're going to start clicking off topics here very soon. And someone says, can we start asking questions? Guys, go ahead in the comments. Ask your questions right now, and I will just ask Chase. So go ahead and ask those. Also, if you would, like the video for us. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. I haven't even said that, but we're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling, okay? So the first thing that I outlined here, Chase, is basically under the best interest of the creditors to set forth. Here is what they're saying. Basically, they're saying here is like we just said, if we don't take this deal and we have to go to Chapter 7, number one, it's going to take way longer.
Yes.
And you're gonna have so many more question marks and how much longer and how much more money it's gonna take, and really best case scenario 50 to 60% back then. So they're saying basically here in the intro, it's basically saying you might want to accept the plan.
The whole document is skewed towards accepting the plan.
Yes.
I mean, it gives you it outlines what would happen in a Chapter 7 versus a Chapter 11, which are, I think we've gone over before the differences, but Chapter 7 is just a total liquidation of everything, and they'll give you back dollars of whatever your pro rata share is, and they kind of tell you how that's going to be. And there's a legal test in there that said best interest of the creditors, and it kind of tells you how they're breaking it down as to why they think the plan is in your best interest. Yep,
exactly. So just kind of moving on here, basically the underlying financial audit. Let me move this out of here so we can actually see something here. So the underlying financial audit here herein have not been subject to any review, compilation, audit, blah, blah, blah. So basically they're saying this has still got many more hoops to jump through.
Well, they're saying that they're basically saying these are our numbers, and I think they're trying to do. I don't know this for sure. This is just kind of I guess an educated guess that the FDIC fiasco of how they marketed that. They're telling you now that there is no outside. This is what we think.
Yeah.
This is the numbers that we have come up with, and there's no outside backing on these numbers. There is nobody else who's looked at them. Kind of where they kind of misled maybe didn't lie but misled you guys on if your money, if you were backed up by the FDIC.
Yeah.
Originally, and they're making saying no one has checked these numbers. These are our estimates.
And that's pretty much what these big bold letters are saying too, and especially in Chapter 7. Now, they're specifically talking about Chapter 7, but it's the exact same thing as Chapter 11, as you guys can read kind of down here in this highlighted area. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it doesn't matter whichever way it goes, that these numbers are not final by any means.
No, I mean, they're very clear to say this is hypothetical to try to give you guys their best guess is what they're saying.
And that's exactly what this purple.
It's a very long document to say this is our best guess as to what would happen.
And but we will say it seems like all the numbers are legit. It seems like they would add up, but it's very easy for them to find something else. So
it does seem like that, and they very well could. It's just with the volatility of the crypto market. You say we got 1.37 billion, which I think is one of the numbers in there in assets. So if crypto takes a 5% drop overnight, now you have 1.1 billion in assets. See, that's just where it's a moving target every hour.
Yeah,
basically.
And that's exactly what this purple is outlined in, guys. What we were just talking about. But basically, the debtors have assumed a hypothetical, basically good numbers, but although it's hypothetical, obviously you know what that means. Chapter 7 liquidation will last approximately 12 months. Could be well over that. Easily.
I mean, they'll go in there and say they're really our guess is 12 months, but it could be longer. Could be they're not pigeonholing themselves into saying this is exactly what it's going to be, and they're very careful to not do that. And be honest, I'd have done the same thing. And
another thing about taxes, I know a lot of you guys have asked. We are in contact with a CPA guy. Remember, he is gone this week. Joe and I actually leave for Disney next week on Sunday, so we've just kind of missed each other. But basically, they're not giving you any tax help on this at all.
I didn't see anything in there about taxes really at all. They're gonna put that on you guys to figure out what if any tax burden are you gonna have to take and how to deal with that.
Here's the chart, guys. The chart is looking. James C, what's up, buddy? So I'm glad you got your shirt too, Jess. Appreciate you. So right here, obviously we all know the number, 72%. 70% is basically coming from the liquidation of crypto. 2% is actually coming from cash. So one thing it did say in here is that I don't know how that tax would be, but 2% of whatever you had could be a big number for some people. Is going to come back in cash. Even if you only held Bitcoin, you're going to get 70% back in Bitcoin, and then you're going to get 2% back in cash.
I even saw in there that just because of it didn't just because you had this strand doesn't mean you're getting back that strand. I don't know if you saw that in there, but
I did see that.
If I only had Bitcoin and let's say they don't have enough Bitcoin to get back, you may get it back in the form of a different strand of crypto, and it may not. Well, I only had Bitcoin. Well, they're saying they don't care. You may get it back in some other strand that wasn't Bitcoin, but they're equating the value as the same.
Yes, exactly. Good point. Possibly Impossible says, what are the laws regarding airdrops? How are airdrops taxed? Right now I just don't know enough about it to go over it. That's something we're going to ask our guy, but I do know airdrops are taxed, and I know you have to be careful with airdrops. I don't exactly know how though. So next up here, we're going to go over estimated cryptocurrency values at conversion date are based on a 20-day historical average for the period ending in September 29th. So this is the one thing that has been extremely vague and ambiguous for me to understand. I don't understand why that's in there if they're taking July 5th prices. So I really didn't know how to answer the guy. Like what does this even mean? Why is this in here?
I don't know why, because to me if it's a 20-day average based on ending September 29th, well, that would mean 20 days before that's September 9th, right? I mean, that's easy math. So that would be the average, but it's saying, but then we go back later in the document to talk about July 5th prices. So I don't know. I'm wondering if the only thing I can think of is if you average a 20-day period between the 9th and the 29th, that average is higher than what it was on July 5th.
I guess so then, or whatever they're going to sell it for.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how like you said, the market is ever changing. The market's changed a ton since July 5th. I understand with what they're worth and where they're going, but
the market's changed since September 29th.
Yeah, absolutely. The market's changed since 8 a.m. this morning.
It's like, to me, that's why this has always been such a difficult case, is because we don't have something if I know I owe someone $500,000, everybody can equate that. 500,000, we know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
But I owe you 500,000. I owe you 27 Bitcoin. Well, 27 Bitcoin was worth something yesterday that it's not worth today. So it's a moving target, I guess. Every day, every hour, the market's open.
Yep, exactly right. So kind of moving down. So liquidation costs, they go over exactly what it would cost in a Chapter 7 process and how much more money they would be spending. And again, they keep saying, well, if we get money back from Three Arrows Capital, you ain't getting any money back from Three Arrows Capital.
They're very clear to say every number they've taken, they've put in here says that we're basically assuming we get nothing back.
Yes.
I mean, that's not, they're saying we're assuming a zero. I think they even put in there, we're assuming we get zero back from Three Arrows Capital.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. So tax stuff in here, guys, they do have just a very little bit, but again, this is all for the company, not really for us. This isn't tax liabilities for us.
That's not even liabilities.
No.
That's who's getting paid out.
Yeah, who's
first.
getting paid out first. Exactly right. So you've got a lot of other people getting paid.
Well, they're saying we have to pay our taxes to the government. We owe first.
Yep.
If you have any administrative claims, they get paid first. It's who's getting paid first, and the 49 million or whatever. I think it's 49 million in priority taxes, administrative taxes, and stuff like that. That's all.
Yeah, right here, 49.5.
That's being paid in cash because that has to be paid in cash because the IRS doesn't want your crypto.
No, why would they? So especially right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so liquidation results. Can you go over this little chart,
Sure.
Chase?
That on the left there is what they say. This is what you guys are going to get from the plan, the FTX plan that they accepted. On the right is what they're projecting would happen in a liquidation process. Now, they have a high side and a low side on what they think they're going to get. Now, I think liquidation, when they're looking at it, I assume they're assuming the market still to go down, because if you were liquidating, then the crypto will be worth whatever it's worth at the time you sell it.
Yeah.
So if we're liquidating everything, and let's say 6 months from now crypto goes up 30%, well, that liquidation might look a lot different.
Well, or when can they even sell it? Like, when does the court allow them to sell it? Could they sell it tomorrow? Could they wait and then?
No. You couldn't sell it tomorrow. If if you go to Chapter 7, it's going to be months of. I would expect them to sell it sometime in 2023.
Okay.
If not a little later.
Okay, that's good to know. So we move on now. This is kind of the main reason for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frequently asked questions. This is actually a pretty good document. I think.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of questions I think
that were legitimate.
I think people were going to have.
Yes. So, how are your account holders calculated? Can I receive recoveries greater than my account claim? You've already answered this.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Simply put, we're gonna move on from there. Is this chart worth going over?
I mean,
basically,
not really right now. We can go over it.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that later.
Okay, perfect. Number 2, how was the initial distribution calculated?
Well, this is pretty simple. This how are we going to give out the money? What we have right now is what the initial distribution is. So what we can give out right now, and they're talking about additional distributions would be if they collect on any of the loans, mainly the Three Arrows Capital. What can we collect, and we'll give back whatever we collect from them, which. It's going to be zero.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have any other smaller loans out there that maybe they'll collect on.
Correct.
But I think they would probably already know that by now.
So here again, the 20-day average thing, we've already talked enough about that, but 72% comprised of 70% from the value of cryptocurrency and then 2% remaining with the cash distribution. So no matter what, you're going to get some basically USDC or cash deposited in your account.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, I mean, that makes sense because it makes sense you're going to get most of it back in crypto because that's most of the assets they have are in crypto.
Yes.
I mean, that makes sense.
So here is also something that's important, guys. Only account holders who timely participate in the transfer of their accounts to FTX US at least one business day prior to the closing date, which we don't know yet, do we?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think we know that yet.
Well, they have to – the closing date assumes you have a deal that's done, and that's when you're going to close on that deal. And
gotcha.
they still have to vote for it, I believe.
Yep. Okay, so accounts to FTX US following such a date until the final margin cutoff of 45 days closing. Basically, if that doesn't happen and you don't share and you don't get your crypto and your FTX account set up, they're not going to switch it to you in kind. They're just going to give it to you back some other way. And in kind would probably be the best way to get it, but you do have to have that FTX account set up, and you wouldn't get the $50 that they're going to give you for the credit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we can move on. And again, guys, USDC is getting treated as if it's a normal crypto. That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think I've read that in many articles that's how they view it, and that's how they're going to continue to view it.
All right, Chase. So the cryptocurrencies in my account have gone up in July 5th, and my recoveries are based on the price of those cryptocurrencies at the time of distribution. That answer is what?
No.
No. And why is that?
I mean, this is where we talked about dollarized. What they did is basically they had to pick a time where they're going to say this is what stuff was worth in dollars.
Yes.
And July 5th is when it was. So just because they went up or down with the market, they're saying no. From what we're looking at July 5th, which also it brings the question, like, why are we using this 20-day average when we're saying
July
we're
5th.
going to dollarize you out on July 5th?
Well, Chase, what happens here? Here's my question. So let's say we're using the value of it of July 5th. What happens if the market tanks down to 10,000 since then?
Well, that's why all this is subject to change.
Absolutely, because it's going to change then,
I mean,
right?
it's going to. I mean, right now you have 1.3 billion in crypto. If let's say if it takes a big, like a 25% decline, well then now you have 800 million in crypto.
Absolutely.
Now you went from 72% to, take a fourth out of that. I mean, now you're down in the 50s.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so you guys can kind of read through all that jargon, but for example, under the FTX transaction to the extent of the account holder, basically if you have $1,000 dollarized value of cryptocurrencies on July 5th, so let's say all your cryptos are added up and it's $1,000. That's what you got. That's what they're saying here. Implied initial distribution of 72%, you would get about $720 back. A value of, you brought this up, of a mix of in-kind cryptocurrency. So you may not just get, if you only had VeChain, like we only have VeChain, we may not just be getting VeChain back. We could get some Bitcoin or something else.
Whatever. I mean, I believe the most, or I mean, I think the most the most used one was Bitcoin.
Yes.
So even though you may have had VeChain, you may have had these other chains, you're not guaranteed to get those exactly back how you put them in. In kind is, we're going to give you about what it was worth, but it may not be exactly what was there. And
then they're saying here your deficiency claim would be what you lost, which is $280 because you had 1,000. You're only getting $720 back. And basically the only way you're going to do that is there's a little bit of an FTX earn-out plan, which I wouldn't really worry too much about, would you?
No.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Really, the only way you're going to get a bunch of money back is if Three Arrows Capital somehow decides to drop a bomb that they've got billions somewhere, and we're going to get it back.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
And let's say that happens. Let's say Three Arrows Capital has every dollar that they owe Voyager. You still are not getting back more than your $1,000.
No.
They make that pretty clear. You're still not getting back more than your 1,000.
Exactly. And you guys can go over the chart of the claim distribution. It's not too hard to understand. You guys can go ahead and look through that. But can't recoveries be tiered based on account size? This is obviously going to be a no. I don't even need to read it on. If you had $100,000 in it, you're going to get back, $72,000.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you had $100,000, you get back $72,000. You're going to be pissed if someone had $25 back and they're getting, $25 and they're getting $17. Well,
exactly.
Why am I getting screwed? Well, that's just that's a pro rata share. Just because you had more in there doesn't mean you're going to get more back.
And that's just bankruptcy code.
Well, that's the code saying you got to keep you got to treat each creditor the same regardless of the amount they had in there. Otherwise, the little guys who maybe had 1,000 in there, well, they get screwed, and the big guys get their money back, and that's kind of is.
They'll make sure the bankruptcy treats it fair.
Well, they have to.
Yeah. So, are my VGX? Here's another thing, man. This is the big one that I just cannot really wrap my brain around. Maybe I'm not reading it right or whatever, but I'm hoping you can help me out here. Are my VGX recoveries only limited on the proportional share of 10 million? Because basically, how is it being treated? It kind of explains it here. It says no, but. So there's about $200 million worth of VGX. They're going to get there. That's basically poof gone because I mean VGX isn't going to be worth anything. You could sell it, but who's going to buy it? Nobody.
No, I mean
There's got to be
stuff's only worth what people will pay for.
And so that's $10 million, and that is going to be FTX who buys it all. So a reasonable person would say you're going to get 5% back.
Yeah.
But however, it's saying here that you might not, because under the plan, the account holders of VGX in their accounts, the petition date, such claims determine the price or the petition date would be basically 23 cents just over to dollarize VGX portion of the account holder. So if you go down here, it goes as outlined in the table below. If the account holder has 100 or 1,000 VGX token claims, claimed or whatever, so 1,000 VGX tokens, the associated dollar value would be $238. If the initial distribution is 72% of that claim value, the account holder would receive an initial distribution of $171. So it's saying here that you're going to get about, what was that, like 17?
72% is what they're saying.
Yeah, but how is that possible?
I'm yet to figure out this math. Maybe someone smarter than me will have to look at it, because from the way they portrayed it is FTX wasn't interested in the VGX token. We'll give you $10 million for the $200 million, but they're not worth anything.
So my only thought was, Chase, are they adding in the VGX into the cryptocurrencies in kind, and everybody's taking that hit for the VGX holders?
Yeah, it could be that.
Is that what it is?
It has to be, because it doesn't make sense the way they...
There's no way. The numbers just simply don't add up.
They don't, especially with that massive hole in the balance sheet already from 3 Arrows Capital. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
How that could happen. So they must be saying VGX is just part of our crypto portfolio.
So maybe VGX holders, maybe this isn't such a bad thing, right? Because, I mean, it's saying here you're going to get 72% back just like everybody else.
And maybe this was one of the problems that the Texas Securities Board had.
That's true.
This could have been like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, so clearly what they're saying, we're thinking, again, guys, we don't know for sure, but people have skipped over this, a lot of other videos, and there's a lot of good other videos out there, guys, so go get some information from them too. But a lot of people skip over this because it really doesn't, or they just read it, because it really doesn't make sense.
Well,
if you read it, it don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. I mean, they're saying, we have 200 million that are basically worthless. We'll give you 10. Now you're going to get 72% back.
It's like, wow.
Well, who's ponying the other 162 million up for that?
Exactly right. So,
130 million, whatever it is.
I guess I just didn't get it, but it does look like from this if you just hold VGX, it looks like you're going to get 72% of whatever dollar amount or whatever dollar amount that was worth at that closing date of 23 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
So I will say, if you bought it really low, you're going to get a lot more back, right? If you bought it super, super high, you're going to struggle, because let's say you put $1,000 in at 73 cents, then you're going to have only the value of it at 23 cents.
Yes.
Versus if you bought it at 40 cents, then you're going to get the value of 23 cents, so you're going to take a less of a hit.
Whatever was in your account, yeah. I mean, you're going to get 72% of whatever was in your account.
Exactly.
But, if you bought it high and, they filed bankruptcy, well, then, yeah, you're going to take more of a hit from your initial investment.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so, but it does look like VGX people, you're getting more back than we originally thought, and they originally said, because they didn't say that.
No, they
did not say that. So, if I'm account holder and claims only $25, yes, you're still getting your $50. We don't need to go over that. This one was just another distribution. You've already answered that plenty of times. So, this is a very important one. At this time, FTX US supports only 22 tokens, which is not a whole lot, including the impact of USDC, whatever. Here's the big thing. It's outlined here in blue, and you guys really need to hear this, is that FTX US has also indicated to the debtors that other currently unsupported tokens are likely to become supported by the time of closing. For such newly supported tokens, the cryptocurrency initial distribution would be based on an in-kind, because right now VeChain is not supported by FTX US. But this is basically saying we're probably going to get it. Like you already said before, you were already all over this.
Yeah, I mean, if they were getting the IP, it wouldn't be that hard to put it on there.
Yes.
Now, but this is where it also comes into, if we don't support your token, either you're going to get cash back, or you're going to get some other kind of crypto back.
Correct.
And it may not be the kind you want.
Exactly.
And they're basically saying, well, that's too bad.
Because, and wouldn't it make sense for FTX to support it when they're going, because they're still going to get 1.3 billion in these crypto assets regardless.
It would make sense for them to do it.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, especially if it's just a matter of their IT guys adding them to the platform. If they have the right IP, I can't imagine it's that hard to do.
Yes. Okay, so number 8. If a token in my Voyager account was listed as being unsupported FTX, can I select a different supported token to receive my distribution? That's going to be no. In kind will basically only be available. You do have to do the KYC and all that stuff, and then they're just going to give you what you get.
Yes.
You're going to get something deposited, and it may be 10 different kinds, and that's what you're going to get. Then you're going to have to decide to either hold those tokens or sell them all and do whatever you want with the money.
And yeah, I mean, and it may be cash. They may give you back cash, and you're going to have to decide.
Okay. So if my account only had BTC, will all my distributions be in BTC? That is absolutely no. We've done that a million times. I don't need to go over that again. 3 Arrows Capital recoveries.
This is 2 long paragraphs to say they have no idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what that is.
So we'll move on. Can you explain the earnout? What does this FTX earnout even mean, dude?
It's hard to tell at this point. Apparently they think there'll be I think an earnout, what they're saying is they're going to make some money maybe between now and when it actually closes. Hopefully the market goes up, and that would be what an earnout is. So they're going to distribute that money to the people, but who knows what it's going to be.
Yep. Okay.
Because it's hard to tell with the volatility of these markets.
So 13, what will happen to the VGX token going forward? Just give it to them straight.
It's going to be gone.
It's gone, people.
I mean, they don't want it.
It's gone. They don't want it. So, I mean, it looks like VGX holders, it looks like us who didn't hold VGX are going to take a little bit bigger of a hit to get them somewhat paid back is what it looks like.
That's what it looks like to me right now. That's certainly not how they phrased it last time.
No, this is completely different. And you know what, to be honest with you, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with it. If I have to take another 5%, what do you guys think? Let me know. Let us know down in the comments of what you think about that. But it looks like that's what's going to happen. Again, this could change tomorrow. So don't yell at us. It could change tomorrow. We're only going off of what we can read.
Well, obviously, I mean, it's changed since the last time. Because last time they said 200 million, we don't want you. We'll give you 10 million. That's it. Mm-hmm. Now they're saying, now they've basically taken that 200 million. Said, well, no, we're going to put that into basically into the pot and distribute that loss equally among everyone. Which, in a bankruptcy, sometimes that could have been one of the things Texas had a problem with.
Okay,
and that very well could have been one of the reasons they filed because they're like, well, this doesn't. If we have to treat everyone equally in a bankruptcy, isn't VGX a strand of crypto? Why are these guys getting smacked in the face so hard?
Yes,
when everybody else isn't, and that might have been a problem.
Yep, actually, that is a very, very, very good point. I may even have to cut that up and put it as a separate video, but that is a great point. And honestly, so if we did say on our last thing, because it said you're only going to get, it literally said 5% back.
That's what it said.
And in the last, and now we're saying you're going to get 72% back. VGX people, you need to vote for this. Yeah, you need to vote for this now. So
and that might have been Texas might have said, hey, listen, everyone's got to be treated equally. You guys aren't treating these folks equally. So we have to change this, and I'm guessing somebody said, well, we have to change this and distribute the losses around, which if you distribute it around a bunch of people, it may be, 3 percentage points to everyone else, but anybody who had VGX, it could be, if you had all your life savings in it, it might be life-changing.
Yes, exactly right. So that could be good, and you can see over the VGX recovery plan right here, it is saying right here, guys, that you are getting 72% back. That they're only going to pay $10 million for it, whatever. So let's say you had $75 in it. Other cryptocurrencies, what they were worth and when, and the distribution, you're still getting about that 72% back.
Yep, that's what they're saying now.
That's what it's saying. That is what it's saying.
And who knows? Maybe the next filing it changes.
Yeah, maybe next time you're getting 5%. But as of this document says, you need to vote for this plan if you have VGX. All right. So is FTX US acquiring the crypto at the July 5th price, the 20-day average as a 29th, or at a future price? This is, again, we don't really know what's going on with this.
Yeah, they're saying that they're using the 20-day period, but it says it'll be determined prior to the closing, which isn't even set yet. So it's just, my best answer is I have no idea how they're valuing this. I mean, obviously they're telling you guys July 5th is an important date to them, but so is September 29th. How we're connecting those two, I don't know.
I don't know either. So, anyways, so we'll move on. The 51 million of cash in FTX paying the estate above beyond the value of the pay for the cryptocurrency. Do I get a portion of the 51 million? It says yes, you will. Consideration in addition to the fair market value of cryptocurrencies under the plan. The such cash value directly and indirectly occurs to the benefit of basically Voyager's creditors.
It's going to be that 2% of cash we
Exactly.
talked about. That's where it's mainly going to come from.
Correct. So who is eligible to join FTX under the plan of in-kind crypto? Basically, I think you have to be in the U.S., don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to be in the U.S. to have an account holder of USDC and all this other stuff. So you guys can read that. Finally, number 17. What is a deficiency claim?
Well, it's a lot more simple than what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
A deficiency claim is we'll just use 1,000 because that's easy for everybody to understand. We've been doing that. So $1,000, I got 720 back. So we're using their numbers, 72%. I now have a deficiency claim of $280.
Yep.
Which I could say, hey, if we get anything back from Three Arrows Capital and maybe some other sources, I want my 280 back.
Mm-hmm.
But they are capping it at 280. So you're not going to get more than your deficiency claim. So your deficiency claim is basically the difference of what you didn't get back. That's your deficiency claim.
And I'm assuming as well that's going to have, so if you want to turn that into taxes as a loss, then you won't be able to take the 280 back anyways.
No, you
so
can't,
I don't know
can't
how,
do both.
yeah, I don't know how all that even works. So I'm not even going to try to take a stab at it.
Mm-hmm.
What does an in-kind distribution mean? Basically, obviously the value, the same cryptocurrency you're going to get back.
No, I think it's the opposite.
In kind, no. So like, basically if I had VeChain, I would get VeChain back.
Well, only if they're supported by FTX.
Correct. That's what they're saying here, though. What does an in-kind distribution mean?
Yeah, only if they're not supported, then just you get what you get.
Yep, you get what you get. You get random stuff. So as of right now, we're getting random stuff because we really are. 90% of my portfolio on there was VeChain. Get whatever you get. It's going to be about the same dollar amount, anyways.
You're getting 72% dollars. Yes. Now, if you're like really particular on what kind of crypto you want, you may be disappointed.
Yes, correct. Yep. Okay. So I think this is the final thing we're going to go over. For example, can you just kind of go over what this whole thing means? Again, they keep referencing the 7.5 and the 20-day average, but it's very ambiguous still.
It's really ambiguous. They're trying to give you a mathematical formula how they're coming up with this.
Yes.
But the 20-day average reference price, I understand that they've picked a date, but what about September 29th is, I guess, special? Why couldn't it be?
Idea.
Why don't we do a 20-day from October 15th?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what about that date? I mean, why wouldn't we just take what it was on July 5th?
Yeah, as soon as the sale goes through. Why not just when the sale goes through?
When the sale goes through, why don't we average the 20 days after the closing date, which actually they may do.
Yeah, they may do.
So I don't even know if that's worth going over because it just could change.
Okay.
So much.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much, we got it done. It is 1 o'clock exactly. I'm like, we're going to go way over. Chase is going to hate me because he got court later. So anyways, guys, that's all we've got today. We tried to get down to the nitty gritty as quick as we could. If you could, give Chase a like, give the Crypto Boys a like. We will be back on. How many more videos do you really think we're going to have to make? Obviously, you have no idea what the future's holding, even though everybody wants you to guess the future. But I mean, we're kind of coming to the end of the road here, aren't we?
I would, if they approve the plan, I think the end of the road is really near. If it gets voted down, then we got probably another set of videos we got to do.
Then we're still rolling over here at the Crypto Boys, and Chase is gonna have to keep coming back and skipping work. So that's all we got. Anything last words you got to say, and then I'll close us out.
No, just basically all that stuff. I mean, it's good they're putting out documents for your help, but just remember, none of that was audited by anyone else other than the people at Voyager who want this to be over with. So if there could be changes, and just keep that in mind. I would not make, life investment plans or, make plans for my financial future based off this document. That's all I would say.
All right. That's all he's got, guys. And as always, we do appreciate you guys being here, and Chase coming in on his lunch hour right after court. And we appreciate you guys rocking with the absolute fittest crypto channel on YouTube. And we are out.